width, length. Thank you. Can somebody tell me the 3 dimensions of intention? Color of intention, 3 dimensions of intention, the height of an intention, the width of an intention. Can somebody tell me? No, right? Yes or no? So you cannot put intention. Sir, come on, it's not that late. Non-tangible. Thank you. Emotions, is it tangible or non-tangible? Yeah, yes or no? We try to use symbols to associate emotions. That's why you have the emojis, right? Yes or no? When you make a heart, you symbolize it as love. Love is not a red heart. But you don't know how to describe it, so you're going to use a symbol. Okay? So now we've talked about 3 untangible things. Intentions, thoughts, and emotions. You need to start here. You need to start here so that you can have that spiritual experience. Or you can actually connect to yourself. Who you are is a spirit. Who you are is a being of light. If in your intentions, if in your thoughts, if in your emotions, you do not work, you do not become better, you don't do anything about it, all these 3 things are going to start putting curtains in front of your light. You know how we say that hijab? That a person, you know, when you do sajda on the turba of Imam Husain, so many hijab are actually taken off. Curtains. Can somebody tell me what those curtains are? These curtains are actually placed by us through our intentions, thoughts, and emotions. If you can work on your emotions, if you can work on your thoughts, and if you can work on your intentions, these curtains will be lifted away. And once they are lifted away, you realize that you are a being of light. You realize who you are. You're not a carbon-based machine. So when we think about the soul, we think about something untangible. Without the 3 dimensions, we cannot really comprehend it, we can't really picture it. But can you understand intention? Can you understand thoughts? Can you understand emotions? Yes? So you are now working with these 3 untangible in the physical world to connect to that being, which is you as a being of light. Far so good? Okay. Yes? How about we say that? That your intentions, your thoughts, and emotions are the mediatory between your soul and your body. These are the 3 things that actually transfer the information from your matter, from your body to your soul, and from the soul to your body. Is it becoming a little bit tangible? No? Does anybody know how many thoughts we get in a day? I have 5 more minutes, okay? Anybody know how many thoughts you get in a day? I'm talking about you. You should know. You don't count them? Somebody actually did. The good part is somebody actually did. Because when you have a thought, it is an electrical impulse which can be measured by a machine. So they put the electrodes on the person's brain, on their mind, on their forehead or on their head. It's actually a cap. And then each thought that they were getting, they were actually counting it. So they came up with a number which is 80,000 thoughts. 80,000 thoughts a person was able to get in one day. Okay. And guess what these thoughts do? They actually create an electromagnetic field which is 3 feet. If I'm in, Maulana Sahib is here, so he's within 3 feet. Okay? And my thoughts what's going to happen is there's a vibrational frequency that Maulana Sahib is in there too, and I'm also in his vibrational frequency, so that if we stay here for another 24 hours or so, we're going to start actually vibrating at the same thoughts. He's going to think like me, I'm going to think like him. We're going to influence each other. Your heart also, the emotions that we say is associated with the heart. The heart also produces an electromagnetic field, which is actually 7 feet. Some actually say 9 feet. So if you are within my 7 feet range or 9 feet range, whatever my emotions are, which are translated into electromagnetic field by the movement of the heart, if I'm calm, guess what's going to happen to you? See? You're going to become calm. If I'm hyper, guess what's going to happen to you? You're going to become hyper. So now, if you just think about, we have actually measuring machines, we have equipment out there that actually can tell you, predict what you are thinking and even what you are feeling. Right? So now, I have 2 more minutes. If you were to be mindful of your intentions, of your thoughts, and of your emotions, you will lift the veils that will clear the room for you who is a spiritual being, a being of light, to get to know each other. Without that, it's not possible. And the way the design is made, Netflix, where do you think it affects you? I have 1 more minute, okay? I'm just gonna finish talking in 1 more minute. Where does Netflix get you? Huh? All those three things. Where does Facebook get you? Where does Twitter get you? Where does Instagram get you? Where does Infinity War get you? Captain Marvel. What was the one coming on the 26th of April? What's the name of that? Huh? Endgame. Where does it get you? Yeah. When you, or Flash, where does it get you? All of the TV shows that we watch, all of the movies that we watch, they get you in all of those 3 areas. And they we our own selves, choose those curtains to keep on putting in front of us so that we can never get to know ourselves that we are the being of light. And we just get stuck in that. And we think that one day Maulana is going to have the magic stick and they're going to have an event where we're going to eat chicken wings afterwards, where they're going to wave the wand like this and we're all going to become spiritual beings. That's not going to happen. You're going to have to put an effort, mind your intentions, mind your thoughts, and mind your emotions. If you do that, inshallah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will bless you with that light, which can be inside of the heart of that mu'min who has realized the worth of that mu'min. Okay. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. My 10 minutes are over. Inshallah, Maulana Sahib is going to ask the question. I think it's 10 minutes talk. Oh, I just... Ji. Is it for both of us or just? See, I got them. Okay, so what is the question? Anybody has, what can we eat artificial gelatin? Here you go. May I rest? Can we eat artificial gelatin?
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطاهرين ولعنة الله على أعدائهم أجمعين اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. This gathering is intended mainly for youth, and youth enjoy special role and a special place in Islam, to the extent that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks several times about youth in the Noble Quran. Even Ashabul Kahf, when Allah talks about them, He says, إِنَّهُمْ فِتْيَةٌ آمَنُوا بِرَبِّهِمْ وَزِدْنَاهُمْ هُدًى. They were youth. So youth are full of energy, full of capabilities, and this time period of your life is extremely significant. Again, to the extent that Hadith say you are going to be questioned about 5 things before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of them is your age. You are going to be questioned, where did you spend the greatest blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which is your life. And then the second question is you are going to be questioned specifically about your young age. So your age, definitely your young age is a part of your whole life. But this youthfulness, this part of your life has been separated because of the importance. And alhamdulillah, in this day and age, as we have countless means of deviation, alhamdulillah, we have numerous ways of educating ourselves, purifying our soul. And at the end of the time, when we look into the traditions, we find that most of the people will be deviated. But at the same time, the hopeful point is from that environment where most of the people will be deviated, Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salatu wasalam will be supported as well. And those who will support Imam al-Hujjah alayhi salam, there will be no less than Salman al-Farisi. There will be no less than Ammar Yasir. So it means the same environment which will produce extremely horrible people, same environment has the capacity to produce Salman of our time, Abu Dhar of our time, Miqdad of our time. So this type of gatherings are of course blessed, and we pray to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah accepts this kind of conversation, gathering from all of us. And now without any further delay, we are moving to your questions. So first question that I see on the screen is, can we eat artificial gelatin? What do you mean by artificial gelatin? Anything which is from animal, if we are not sure that that animal is halal to be consumed, and that animal has been slaughtered Islamically, then we are not allowed to consume that animal. But apart from animal products, if you mean by artificial gelatin, non-animal gelatin, then of course you are fully allowed to eat and consume.
Thank you. आगे चलिए, ये आपने ऑलरेडी कह दिया। 32 सवाल आ गए। 32 सवाल इसको भी करने
Second question which is related to this is, can we eat gelatin that is found in medicine? So medicines are no exception. If the gelatin used in medicine, that is animal product, then of course we should avoid that. Unless that has gone through istihala and inqilab, these are jurisprudential expressions. Totally that animal product has been transformed into another product which is no longer animal product. If that happens, then of course we are allowed to consume that. Otherwise, the best option is to avoid. If there is gelatin in medicine, we can have alternative medicines, other brands which are free from gelatin.
Okay. So what we have to understand is at the moment we have 35 questions. Okay, so far, 37. So 38 now. Okay, so if the question has already been sort of answered, or it's a question that might pertain to, for example, 1 or 2 people, we're going to try to skip it. For the only thing is because of the duration of time, okay? Specifically for fiqh questions, I think my youths and my elders, we need to do a little bit of an effort which we are lacking. If you were to get an assignment from the school or university for you to go and read a 500-page book to write a book report, you will read 500 pages. But when it comes to the risala of the things that are necessary for you to know as a person who is in taqleed of a marja, your responsibility, we lack the effort of reading even 5 pages. And it is actually, it's not right. The whole point of taqleed is so that we become independent in following a marja where we are responsible to find out the fatwas of the marja. The whole point of taqleed is that. The point of taqleed is not to say I am in taqleed of Ayatollah Sistani or Ayatollah Khamenei, and then after that go through other people, keep on asking them what is this, what is that. Okay? So inshallah that you will keep that in mind. Right, so now the question that relates to ideology, okay, or theology, or even akhlaq or spirituality, these are questions that you should, we need answers in the sense of guidance. So we can be guided in the right direction, but you again have to come up with conclusions. Right? Because in ideology or in theology, there is no taqleed. You cannot say there is a God because Maulana Sahib said it. You cannot say there is a prophet because Maulana Sahib said it. You cannot say there is a heaven because Maulana Sahib said it. Okay? We need to do a bit of research also in theology, but from Maulana you can get the guidance so that you are thinking in the right direction. Okay? The question here is what heaven actually is, how does it look? Okay, heaven looks as beautiful or what it has based on your actions. Okay, based on your actions, the trees are going to be made. Based on your actions, the rivers are going to flow. Based on your actions, the houses are going to be built. Based on, for example, in Miraj, the Holy Prophet, when he came back, he had a few narrations. People asked, one of the narrations is that there were angels, they were building, they were planting trees, and they would work, and then they would sit down, work, and then sit down. And the Prophet asked, how come you're not consistently working? And the angels replied, because when someone says, Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, as soon as they say that, we build a part of the house, we plant a tree. As soon as they stop, we stop. Okay. So think about your actions and the beauty of your actions. That beauty of your actions is going to be projected in heaven. The verses of the Quran that describe the heaven is description there for us to get motivated to get to that place which is going to have no sorrow, no sadness, no weakness, where we will be able to enjoy the blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for eternity. And then, depending on the levels that you get, the heaven is going to be just that. Can you imagine the heaven of Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam? Someone who spent his life in a way that he was in the submission to the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He did not do anything as we will perform actions so that you can get into heaven. He did it because as a responsibility, as a slave of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay? So how does it look? It is going to look as beautiful as your actions. Of course, there will be similarities to some of the things that you see around. So there are going to be trees, but the trees are not going to be like the trees here. The trees are going to be built or made by you. So, for example, I don't know, if you like a particular fruit, it will be something similar. You'll eat it, you'll say, I've eaten it before. Okay? With me? So this is actually more of a shorter answer. But when you ask a question, if it's one sentence, don't expect an answer which is one sentence. It's quite possible that the answer takes a lot longer but we'll just move forward. Okay, is having a tattoo haram? If not, please, why? Okay. First of all, why even ask this question, right? But we're asking this question because we see the basketball players having their whole left side or right side tattooed, their necks tattooed, their eyebrows tattoos. When we watch the movies, we see the actors and the actresses tattooed. When we watch TV show, we see the actors and actresses tattooed. When we go out in public in school, we see people having tattoos. When we are in the environment that we are, we see other people having tattoos. And then the question arises, can I have a tattoo? With me? So when we ask the question, can we have tattoos? When we ask a marja, can we have it? And the question is put in this way. Can I have tattoos? Because tattoos are ink that goes and stains the skin and does not put a barrier on my skin. So therefore, when I do wudu or I do any ghusl or so, there is no barrier of water. And so can I have tattoos? And we say, okay, you can have tattoos. But if you were to pose the question that, I would like to have a tattoo in servitude to a musician that I love, and I want to be just like them, because they have a dragon on the back of their neck, I want to have a dragon on the back of my neck. Or that, LeBron James is actually having this particular tattoo, and I would love to have it because he's my idol, he is like God of basketball, and I want to show everybody that he's also, the God of basketball, so that they can see my painted body, so that they can know that. I just want to have a butterfly because I've seen in the movie there was a cute girl, she had a butterfly on her neck, and I would also like to have a butterfly on my neck because I look also beautiful. Now the problem with us is that when we live in a society where so many things are actually bombarded to us and visual effects are there, we start getting like these soft spots where we want our religion to bend to our needs, our ideas. A Muslim woman, man or woman, youth, a child, we cannot associate ourselves to the individuals who are in the submission to the will of shaitan. How many of you know that you cannot make it in Hollywood without actually doing something to show your submission to those individuals who have the system in their hand to make sure that everybody becomes a clone of theirs? You haven't seen those eyes? One eye here, a triangle there. If you sell your religion, you can get into Hollywood. And we want to be like them? No. We live in Canada, so bribery really is not really an issue. So I think a lot of these questions that are coming up is because we let go of the age limit for people. So everybody's a youth right now, right? थोड़ा यूथ के लिए हो जाएगा. Okay, we had another same thing about tattoos. Some people say, just in the context, because two questions, and I know you guys are, into it. I know the elders are not into it, tattoos and so forth. But when they want to, kind of be religious at the same time and sort of call themselves, balanced, they will say, can we have Halloween? Like, instead of having Halloween, can we have Halloween? Is this okay? Just because you say Halloween, that doesn't mean, it makes it okay. Just because you gave it like an Islamic twist to it, it doesn't mean that it's okay. So sometimes the people say, what if I have the name of Hazrat Abbas on my body? What if I have the name of Imam Ali on my body? When you go to the washroom, if you have like a taweez or something on your neck, what do you do with it? You take it off and you go into the washroom. Yeah? How will you take off that name? Peel your skin off when you go into the washroom? And in places where your body is going to be and where people are going to see that name with that associated with your body, do you want that disrespect to the name of Hazrat Abbas or Imam Ali alayhi salatu? There are other ways to show devotion and love to Hazrat Abbas and Imam Ali alayhi salatu. The way to show devotion to Imam Ali is not to have a tattoo engraved on your chest, is to become a follower of Imam Ali. To be truthful in your love to him. To become someone like Salman Farsi. To become someone that is truly a Shia of Imam Ali.
In fact, this type of questions are based on a kind of inferiority complex. We think that these individuals, what they have is better than what we have. And it means that we haven't understood our religion. If you want to do a quick comparison between the dominating culture and Islamic civilization, Islamic culture, you are witnessing all the consequences and all the issues and all the problems of the current dominating system. And just imagine, if Islam is implemented truly, if the religion of Allah, the interpretation of the religion of Allah, which comes from Ahlulbayt alayhimu salatu wasalam, that has been implemented in the society perfectly. You have one word at your right side and the other word at your left side. The word which is governed by so-called Western culture, and the word which is based on the teachings of Allah and the culture and civilization of Ahlulbayt alayhimu salatu wasalam. You can imagine, you can visualize, and then you see the differences between these two. Any sane person would very easily recognize the differences between the two. So the culture you have, the civilization you have, that is the best. And one of the examples is how many Muslims you know who are educated, who have done academic researches, and they have become non-Muslims. And how many non-Muslims from this contemporary, advanced Western world, from all walks, from all backgrounds, from highly academic people to the musicians, to the politicians, how many of them each year they come to Islam, they embrace Islam. So this is something really important, that we appreciate the religion we have. And if we don't appreciate, it means we don't recognize it, we don't understand it. So what I would encourage, to please take some time and acquaint yourself better with the religion Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has bestowed upon you. And I would say in one sentence, even if there is no God, supposedly, supposing something impossible is not impossible, even if there is no God, if there is no life after death, if there is no hellfire, if there is no paradise, nothing at all, still, in order to live in this world, we need to follow a system. And you cannot find any system better than Islam. Even in non-Muslim Western world, there are people who are crying for Islamic teachings, and they are voicing their governments, why not you implement Sharia laws? Why not you practice Islamic fiqh, Islamic jurisprudence? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala very clearly has stated, Sibghat Allah, wa man ahsanu min Allah sibgha. Allah's color, Allah's culture, Allah's civilization. And can you imagine any color, any culture, any civilization better than that? Whatever you have is already the best. You don't need to go after any other culture. You don't need to do anyone else's taqleed. I mean, following of these idols or these musicians or these footballists or these examples. Explain the purpose of ziyarat salam. We do the majalis also. What is the point figure? Direction. Please explain the purpose of ziyarat salam. We do at the end of the majlis. Also, what does point finger towards that direction mean? Why do we do that? So, in fact, it's not wajib. If you ask me from jurisprudential perspective, it's not wajib to do ziyarat, but we do that out of our recognition for Ahlulbayt alayhimus salam. If we are able to pray, if we are able to stand in our musalla, if salat exists, if fasting exists, all the ibadat exist. In fact, it is due to the sacrifices of Prophet Muhammad and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salatu wasalam. So in order to have appreciated their sacrifices and have made ourselves one step closer to them, we say, Assalamu alayka ya Rasulullah, Assalamu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. So this is just for that purpose. And of course, when we point with our fingers, this is for the purpose of concentration. And this is mainly when we go to visit their holy shrines. It is recommended that we point toward their finger. So it is for concentration. And that habit we carry and we continue even when we are not in front of their qabr or their grave. But it is absolutely acceptable, and there are different cultures. Some people, they prefer to put their hand on their chest and bow down slightly and then say salam. And some cultures even they raise their hands like that and they say salam. So it depends on culture to culture, and all are acceptable. So there are some, as we have mixed, in fact, audience, or sisters and boys. So there are some questions about some issues. Unfortunately, due to the nature of this gathering, we are unable to respond. But those who have asked these questions, we request them. If your question is not responded, not covered, please don't feel disappointed. Contact us at a later time. Text me or text Maulana Sahab. Inshallah, we will reply you separately.
Okay, since it is most of you are youths, and maybe just judging from the question, I'll make a general little bit of explanation, okay? I think we need to try to figure out the definition that Islam has of marriage. Okay? The definition that we have of marriage at the moment is heavily burdened by the cultural background that we come from, by the understanding that we live in a society that we live in. Okay? We need to actually take a look at the definition of marriage in Islam. Okay? If you were to understand the stature or the status or the definition of marriage in Islam, most of your questions that might come up will be answered. Okay? So I'll give you a definition, just think about it, and we'll move forward. Okay? Marriage is the coming of two entities or two bodies or two beings together to help each other in the path of the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to come together to fight with the enemy within and outside, to come to the place where they can have a progeny that are going to move forward and become better than they were. so that humanity as a being can continuously become better and better to the point where we reach the peak of humanity, which is the government of Imam Zaman alayhi salatu wasalam. It is a holy institution in which the two human beings can come together to make one that can tread on the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and also fight the enemies within and outside. We've made the marriage into a fight between two egos. We've made marriage for the emotional and physical needs. We've made marriage as a cultural custom. We've made marriage as a way just to, just to become, as all we have grown up, we've gotten married now. The definition of marriage in Islam is very different. Okay? Inshallah, if you have any personal questions in regards to this sort of issue, send a text to Maulana or myself. The only reason why I'm not going into specifics is because there could be some individuals who might think of that as something inappropriate. When I personally don't think that, if we can explain it in a way that it is appropriate for everybody, we can take a shot at it. But because the way your minds work and our minds work, it becomes difficult in a gathering where the sisters are there and the brothers are there. Just because of the society you live in, you're bombarded with so much of these images that take you just towards your physical side. And you forget about your emotional and spiritual side of yourself that is part of marriage. Okay? With me? Okay. In this world we strive for perfection. In heaven do we continue to do actions in order to reach another level of perfection? First of all, there is no such thing as perfection. Absolute perfection, that is perfection, is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We can only become better and better and better to a certain point of reference. And the point of reference that we have in humanity to reach the highest level is of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. So that is a point of reference for humanity to say that this is the best. Okay? To say that this is the perfect human being. To say that that's perfection. But in its definition, perfection, absolute perfection, is only Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in creation, the point of reference is the Holy Prophet. So now, that is why we have the Sunnah of the Holy Prophet. We have the way or the path of the Holy Prophet in which we tread, in which we walk, in which Imam Ali ﷺ walked, in which Imam Masumin ﷺ walked, in which Bibi Zainab ﷺ walked, in which Bibi Fatima ﷺ walked, and in which everyone who follows them also walks and on that path. If you follow the path of Imam Ali, guess where this path is going? The path of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the role model for all of humanity. Now, we are going to strive on the path of the Holy Prophet and of Imam Masumin. Whether we're going to get perfect, no. Whether we're going to get to a place of point of reference where other people are going to look at us and say, wow, yes. Where we can become like Hazrat Salman Farsi, yes. Okay? When we get to heaven, do we continue doing actions in order to reach another level of perfection? When we get to heaven, only in this particular world, when we do an action, there is a reaction and it is projected in heaven. With me? So when you are living this life, when you do an action, it's projected in heaven or it's projected in hell. When you're over there, you're only seeing the projection of your actions. With me so far? Yeah? Yes or no? So when you do an action here, it's projected in heaven. When you get to heaven, you see that action. When you're here, you don't really see the beauty or the ugliness of our actions. All we see is a person taking a knife, putting it into the body of another person. But that action and reaction actually gets projected in heaven or in hell. Putting a knife in the person's body is just, what are the consequences? Some judge is going to give you a sentence, okay? So when you get to heaven, it's mostly projection of your actions and you get to see them. Right now you're not able to see, although there are some people who have reached those levels where they can see the projection of their actions, okay? So take this idea of OCD, of becoming perfect. There's really no such thing. A lot of people get OCDs, I need to be perfect. You can strive and become better and have a point of reference where you want to reach. And the point of reference that we have is the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and culture started on, making women as an item, as an object. They made that into a whole system, and it's still being used. In retail, they use it so that people can buy the products, so that companies can become rich, so that the movies can be sold, so that the products can be sold. They still do it. But now, when that goes out of their hand, and they can see their morals and ethics are being destroyed so much that people are now becoming aware of it, they start a movement to say that what is happening is wrong. They never say who started it, who started objectifying women. They never say that. They never say that we are still using women as tools to sell our products. They'll take an angle in which they will try to look good that they're actually doing something for women. Okay? So when you look at these sort of movements, don't get too much involved in it or don't get too much anchored in it, because they're coming from a place which is also part of that same movement that is creating that movement. With me? As far as our community awareness is concerned, Islam has always put women in a very different light than the Western culture has. I mean, we have a woman who, is a symbol of greatness, of piousness, of righteousness, as a mother, as a wife, as a daughter. I mean, 1400 years ago, when the Holy Prophet had a daughter, he changed the direction of the history of humanity. Till now, there is no faith or religion out there that gives women the stature that Islam does. But of course, it's our own shortcomings, our own cultural background, our own egos that oppress women in their household. It's not Islam. So in order for us to make the awareness, yes, we have to make the awareness in the community so that the women are not harassed or physically abused or verbally abused. But in order for us to do that, we have to take the angle, the direction that is given to us by Islam with patience, calmness, and letting go of all of the preconceived notions from before and actually coming with a cool mind. Maulana Sahib is here, have your sessions or have seminars, have specifically on that. Inshallah, it'll be good. What is going on? That's your question.
The question is, how do we build our relationship with the Quran? So, to build our relationship with Quran, of course, is very significant. As Imam Ali alayhi salatu wasalam has said, Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. When you are surrounded by tribulations and you are unable to see the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the best refuge for you is to cling onto Quran. So this is very important that in this day and age where we are bombarded by countless means of misguidance, we seek our refuge in Quran. And of course, this question asks, how can we build our relationship with Quran? It proves that, alhamdulillah, the person who is asking this question, or the group who have asked this question, they are interested in Quran. And this intention is praiseworthy. And this is a kind of building your relationship with Quran. This is the beginning of your relationship with Quran. So if you are paying attention to Quran, if you are thinking to learning from Quran, educating yourselves from Quran, understanding Quran in whatsoever way, that is the beginning of your interaction with Quran. So please go ahead, and if you can read Quran, that's alhamdulillah. another level of your relationship with Quran. And if you don't know how to read Quran, it's very easy. You can learn Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says several times in Quran, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ. We made Quran extremely easy for you so you can understand. So it's again a kind of satanic whispering that it's hard, it's in Arabic language, you cannot understand, you cannot pronounce correctly. I know a lot of people from Western world, from white background, they don't have any closeness, any nearness with Arabic language in terms of language, but they read Quran very articulately, they pronounce Quran absolutely perfectly. So everything is possible. However, it does require a little bit of efforts. So if you do a little bit of efforts, I can guarantee that in 1 month, only in 1 month, less than 1 month, even in 20 hours, you can learn Quran, how to read, and how to go forward. So the first level is acquaint yourself with Arabic Quran, and you are able to read in Arabic language. And then the second level is moving toward understanding. You can understand through translation. You can understand through, mashallah, commentary books. There are a lot of commentary books nowadays out there. One of them is The Light of Quran. Something like that. What is the exact name? Does anyone remember? An enlightening tafsir of Quran. I'll tell you the name. That is available on alislam.org, and that is so far the best English commentary. It is in 20 volumes, so it gives you deeper description and understanding of Quranic verses.
Relationship, you know what that means? You get onto the same ship as the other person and you go in the same direction. So if you want to build a relationship with the Quran, if you just look at the word relation, whichever ship Quran is in, get onto that ship and you have a relationship. What is the connection between our heart, soul, and intellect? Okay. Heart, soul, and intellect. Okay. They're good. Relationship's good. They talk to each other, you know, like the soul says something to the heart says okay, the heart talks to the intellect is okay, the intellect talks to the heart is okay, the heart talks to the soul. They're all talking, right? So there is a connection of information which is getting transferred from one to the other, and so forth. The problem I think that we might get into is the definitions of what is the heart, what is the soul, and what is the intellect. Thank you very much. Right? This is our problem. So soul is not in your body. Okay? Okay? Soul, think of soul as a journal folder, and this journal folder has many different, things in there. They are part of the same folder. With me? Yes? So let's put soul as a folder instead of having soul as an entity, or as something that we want to think about. Put soul as a folder. In that folder, there are many different things that are there. So think about the opposite of matter as soul. You have matter and then you have non-matter, or you have matter and then you have metaphysical. Okay? Matter is bound by the rules of physics, and metaphysical is not bound by the rules of physics, right? So the example is, me and Maulana Sahib are sitting here, gravity is pulling us down, on our shoulders and all that, and we are on the chair. What if Maulana Sahib starts levitating? Right? So Maulana Sahib is levitating above the table. Wow, right? So you will say, this is metaphysical event. Why? Because it is not obeying the laws of physics. Okay? So something that is metaphysical, we can put that into the folder of the soul. Something which is physical, we can put that into the folder of matter. there is a communication between metaphysical and physical. There is a communication that goes back and forth. Heart is the focus of your attention. Heart is the focus of your attention. Intellect is your capacity to find reality. When your capacity is used to find reality focused with the attention and intention, you'll figure out what your soul is. Relationship-wise, there's information going back and forth. Heart is a tool as well you can look at that understands, that sees. Intellect is not just the gray matter, is actually the ability to see reality. Someone who cannot see reality is not an intellectual person. Like we had a person who became so well famous in physics, but came up with a sentence saying, oh, science has removed the need of God. When you're looking at the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala so closely and you see that there is a design and guidance and organization, how can you make a statement that there is no one that is guiding, organizing, or managing this system? If you were to say to that person, this table came out of chance, you would say, no, someone made it. But this whole universe? No, it came out of chance. That's not intellect. You need to take a break. Do you guys need to take a break? Should we take? Is there a break allowed?
10-minute break. 10-minute break.
Yeah, sure.